We'll answer as many questions as we possibly can throughout the show. Let's get straight to it, Leon. The Manchester derby. We were hoping for a better game. It was a pretty one-sided affair, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, as you said, you're hoping for anything really to happen in a Manchester derby, a local derby, fight, desire, tackles, goals, sending-offs maybe, but it was probably the most one-sided derby I've seen probably in my life.
Were you surprised about how the two teams set up? If we have a look at the formations, United went to a back three, didn't they, against Tottenham? It worked for them. They kept it for the Champions League game against Atalanta, and then again for the Manchester derby. It didn't particularly work, did it, against City because of the way City played without a recognised striker?
Yeah, it didn't work, but I wasn't surprised with how they set up. I expected Manchester United to go with that back three, thicken it up in the midfield, try and stop City playing, but Pep was just too clever. His selection wouldn't be far away from what anyone would suggest is his strongest team, but it was how he adapted them on the field, the positions he gave them, going into the wide areas, not just playing as a standard 4-3-3, which showed the difference.
That was probably his big call, actually, wasn't it? When you look at the bench for City, Jack Grealish not starting. He's pretty much started every game this season. He's integrated him into the side. He's given him his opportunity, but he left him out the big one.
He did, because as we saw, he wanted a left-sided, left-footed player on the left-hand side and similar on the right-hand side to stretch the Manchester United team as much as he can. He was clever in his tactical analysis of the game, knowing that Manchester United would adopt a wing-back formation. Keeping those wing-backs all the way back gave them so much room, more so than you'd expect a Manchester City team to get in a Manchester derby, but they just dominated the game from there.
Absolutely. Let's have a look at some of the clips then, shall we? And show us, Leon, how exactly you felt that Man City dominated the game then.
Well, they dominated, as you'd expect a Manchester City team to do, possession of the ball, but they pressed, as you'd expect, right from the beginning of the game, forcing Manchester United into these positions. Now, from a Manchester City point of view, I think it was terrific. I think they pressed, as you can see. We've got people all tight and on the field. Foden trying to cut the pass at the bottom, all following in, all close, forcing Manchester United to not have many options. But I think we'll see on the first couple of clips, I don't feel that Manchester United worked hard enough or were confident enough to take the ball in tough areas, and I think Manchester City really played into that.
I was about to ask you, what really was United's plan with the ball? Because without the ball, we knew it was a back five, everyone in shape. It was a midfield three and two up top, but they were quite tight, weren't they? And said you can't play through the middle. That was United's plan without the ball. But what about with the ball?
I'm still trying to figure it out, if I'm completely honest. I think that, you know, when you see Manchester United getting into these areas, giving the ball away, City pressed, yes, but they didn't have to work very hard to make that press successful. So then Manchester United without the ball at home, not pressing again, and then, you know, another clip, Manchester United.
Well, I'm asking how United are going to get out here, because City are pressing. City is laying a trap, really. They're saying, go on, we know you want to play out from the back. The way that Lindelof and Maguire are set up, I'm looking at this position straight away. Well, you're doing it from a City point of view and how they're locked in. Let me look at it from a Man United point of view. They're trying to play out Eric Bailly here, Wan-Bissaka here. How are they going to get the ball? Is that the right position for them as a back three? I'm looking and thinking, who wants the ball? Does McTominay want the ball there? Is Fred looking to get on it? You know, when City have the ball, you can see they're absolutely desperate, aren't they?
Yeah, well, I'm saying Manchester City are set up in a nice starting position to press. They've got Manchester United in their sights. They're all in covering positions. And this is what I mean from Manchester United. I don't know how hard they really wanted to work to get on the ball. You've just showed Bailly at the bottom and Wan-Bissaka. We've just had a pass.
He's walking away. Everybody's walking away.
We've now gone across to Harry Maguire. You see Kevin De Bruyne there pointing. He's going to do the pressing job because he knows that's what he is. But he's also doing it knowing that he's half stopping that pass. He's half asking his teammate, are you up behind me? But what they do is they force Manchester United to play into these areas under pressure. And I'd say to anybody who's... What kind of pass do we feel that Harry Maguire's got at the moment?
Well, I'm looking there and I'm thinking, what can he play? He's got a couple of options. He's going to play short in there. He can play out to his left back, but that's tight, difficult ball. He can play in here to Fred, into his midfield player, but again, I mean, it's quite tight in there, and I guess he's got the long one, hasn't he, to go up Ronaldo.
Potential, but when you're a right-footed centre-back playing on the left side and this ball's on your left foot, I'm not sure you really fancy that long pass.
To take that one away?
To take that one away. And then you're sort of playing it into Fred, and he's not really showing for the ball. You've seen, as a midfielder for many years, Matt, when you actually want the ball, you show it in your body language. You go in, you ask for it, you've got your arms out, you're screaming. Fred looks to me like he's in the position without really wanting it. Shaw's the easy pass, and I felt that was pretty much what they took, and it just played right into Manchester City's hands. You see Jesus able to press that already. Kevin De Bruyne is now already setting off towards that one.
Because he knows it's going back.
Because it's going back there. Rodri, I think it is, even though he's playing holding midfield, not restricted, Manchester City, by the start position.
Well, he's got nothing to worry about behind him.
Yeah, but playing the game that's ahead of them, trusting your teammates, knowing and understanding that, yes, I might be the deep holding midfielder, and this might be my role and responsibility for the most part, but right now I need to step in. I need to press in. And I think that's why Manchester City completely understand.
Well, they dominate the game with the ball, but they're dominating it without the ball as well, aren't they? They're almost setting traps for United and saying, we're going to catch you out by, if you want to play out, which you do want to play out, we'll let you do it, but as soon as you do, we're coming.
Yeah, but again, I thought Manchester United made it very easy. Look, they've Lindelof, and I know that you're never going to make that switch, but none of these players have moved. Bruno's not in a position to receive the ball. McTominay certainly isn't in a position to receive the ball. Fred
is the only ball, isn't he?
Is the only ball that he's potentially got right now. And you contrast that to a Manchester City team that are always showing for the ball, always in position, sometimes for the first pass, but quite often for the second pass.
They always say when the man's on the ball, they want 3 or 4 options, don't they? People should be moving to get into a position where you can receive the ball. When City pick the ball up, they've got 3 or 4 options. United have got 1.
Yes, but the thing that makes Manchester City, and there you go, Harry Maguire ends up having to kick it long. Manchester City win the ball back and start another probably 3 or 4 minutes of possession football in this Manchester United half. But what they do is, Manchester City, they're always thinking about the second pass. Well, they're always thinking about the third pass, whereas Wan-Bissaka here now on the ball has got it. Bruno Fernandes sort of comes towards the ball to show a little bit. Ronaldo is trying to run away maybe, but there's no way that Wan-Bissaka can get that ball through to him. Greenwood makes a run up the pitch, okay, trying to stretch it. The rest of the players, I wouldn't say that any of them are trying to influence the ball, get on the ball.
They're shattered from chasing.
Maybe so, but not one of them is trying to influence the ball. Manchester City would, the first player shows for the ball, but then you would have probably 2 or 3, maybe even 4 of these thinking about the next pass. If Bruno Fernandes was to get it, am I in a position to get the ball off Bruno Fernandes? That's how Manchester City keep possession of the ball for a long time. But Fred is in trouble here. He's got nothing, plays it to Bruno Fernandes. Now, Bruno Fernandes, again, in trouble. Back towards goal, facing that way. What kind of options have you got? Potentially your keeper. Yeah, that's the only pass. Wan-Bissaka's going to back off into this area to try and make something from it for him. Bailly certainly doesn't want it. His body language. McTominay isn't in a position to get the ball.
You're just scratching your head here as to what Man United have worked on through the week. And look, they know that City are probably going to have the majority of the ball, aren't they? Because City do that to everyone, not just Man United, do it to any team in the league. They'll have the majority of the ball. But what's their plan? How are they going to get out? And I say shattered. It's the 7th minute of the game. They can't be tired now. But again, there's no real movement to get on the ball, is there? There's no one that's saying, give it to me, I'll move. And I talk about making 3 or 4 yard runs just to get into an angle where you can receive it. There's none of that.
Well, if they were more confident and braver, and if this was, as I said, roles reversed, this player in this position would be screaming for the ball. Yes, it's a tight pass. But if you're brave, if you're positive, if we know this is what we're going to try and do, we're all going to show for the ball and take the ball in tight areas, you're out, and you're actually up the field.
Yeah.
But it was as if, we're working so hard. I've been there many times. When you work so hard off the ball and you don't get a look, even 7 minutes into a game, when you actually win the ball back, you're actually all hoping for a rest. You're hoping one of your teammates keeps the ball for a moment so that you can get a break. Fortunately for United, Bruno Fernandes gets himself into this position. Wan-Bissaka probably has to play this up the line, but you wonder to who. Ronaldo's all the way back here.
I mean, it's brilliant from City. They're pinning United in.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant because they don't always get the credit because they've pinned in, they've forced into areas. They've got Manchester United into these areas of the field and they've pretty much got an overload. in this area, and yet they've still got that man spare in this position. So it's brilliant pressing from Manchester City, but again, I just felt that Man United played into Manchester City's hands during the game.
Yeah. Bit like City. They go from two angles, don't they? Side to side.
Well, they do, and then obviously they're so quick in transition that it leads to Manchester City creating the opening goal. Now, obviously we've seen it come from here, but it has to be highlighted that just spoke that Manchester United didn't work hard enough in possession of the ball. Well, quite clearly you have to say that they don't work hard enough out of possession of the ball here. They've tried to defend their own penalty area. Balls come out. You've got Cancelo in this position here, completely unmarked.
See, this is where City were really clever, and they overloaded in the wide areas, didn't they? Because United were narrow. The back five were narrow, the midfield three were narrow. You felt that the two wider central midfield players had a lot of work to do. They had a lot of ground to cover, and I'll highlight him, Bruno Fernandes. Now, don't get me wrong, he does nowhere near enough to go and close the ball down. His work rate's not good enough. He has to do better. But look at the distance he's got to travel already. Even that ball does go to Cancelo. He's got a long way to travel.
You look at his teammates as well. I mean, this is a midfield three. Manchester United have defended across. They've already got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players still inside their own penalty area. Now, that's a dream for Manchester City that they've forced the opposition possession. But I just feel that Manchester United don't quite understand the roles, because I look at Wan-Bissaka as well.
Well, I mean, yeah, Wan-Bissaka. So whose role? I think in this position now, Wan-Bissaka's job is Foden. He's probably more dangerous than Cancelo.
Yeah.
And Bruno Fernandes' job is to get to the ball and stop the cross. That's what I think. I think Wan-Bissaka's in a position there to deal with Phil Foden. Deal with that one. That's fine. You just stay with your man. He's in the centre of the box. Deal with that. Let Fernandes go and stop the cross. So we'll play it on. And does Fernandes do enough? We get to this point now. The answer is no. He's still the same distance away.
He's staying this way, and his body language is bad. But already, Wan-Bissaka has got himself into a position where he's now not marking Foden. He's also not going towards the ball. Bruno Fernandes is showing no desire to stop that cross. It's more of a, as long as you don't beat me 1v1, I'm happy. It's doing nothing for the team.
Yeah.
It's not protecting your own penalty area. As I said, Wan-Bissaka, instead of being in this position where we would be marking Phil Foden, maybe in a position to stop this cross being delivered into that area. He's not there. I also think Bailly is in a terrible position. He's so concerned with Gundogan. I'm hoping that's what he's doing, rather than being in the position that he should be here, where he's in a position just to see the ball onto his foot and clear it, rather than having to stretch back in. And it was just really poor. And Manchester City are the team that are capable of seeing that and taking advantage of it. They put so many crosses in. Yeah, Manchester City.
I mean, yeah, they did. So we talk about it starting on the right-hand side, and that's exactly where it did. And in this position here, you're looking at United's back five, and you're thinking, do you know what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Talk about them being narrow. That's how narrow they were. They're very close together, but they're not in a bad position really, because you're thinking, well, he can deal with him. He can deal with him. That's no problem. He can deal with him. And we've still got 2 spare. It's 5 versus 3. We shouldn't really have a problem here. If I'm going to pause it now. Wan-Bissaka, I'll take it back very slightly. Watch Wan-Bissaka. He has one little glance. If you just keep an eye on Wan-Bissaka, there he is there. I'll play it on slowly. He has one little glance. Sees Foden there. So now he's seen him. So you think, right, do your job. Everyone else is marked. It's no problem at all. It shouldn't be a problem. As it comes in, right, Bailly has lost Gundogan, not seen him. Wan-Bissaka has lost Foden, behind him, can't see him. So your body position straight away is wrong as a defender, because all you can see is what's there. You need to be on the half turn, open your body up so you can see the ball and the man. Neither of them do that. No one's doing it. Lindelof hasn't done it, Maguire hasn't done it. Bailly isn't doing it, and Wan-Bissaka isn't doing it.
This is one of the strengths of Manchester City, though. Despite them not playing with
Should score.
Yeah, of course. But despite not playing with any strikers, they've now isolated Manchester United 4v4 inside their own penalty area by making runs from deep.
Bruno's miles away. Bruno's miles away. If Wan-Bissaka's marking Foden, or he's doing a job on Foden, he gets himself, as you quite rightly say, into this position where he might better deal with it. Again, look at Bailly's position. He's now gone the other way, so he's facing like that instead of opening his body up so he can see the cross, see the man. Ball comes in. Wan-Bissaka, if he's in that position, he heads it clear. Ends up in the back of the net. That's 7 minutes into the game. Where's United's plan again? Where's he going? Wan-Bissaka. Right, Bruno now. Is there a way out? Is there a way of playing a 5, 10, 15-yard ball? I look at it and think there is.
This is the one.
It is. I mean, look, there's the ball, isn't it?
It didn't happen very often during the game that Manchester City actually played something a little bit clever. That pass was clever. Suddenly, you've beat 2 Manchester City players.
Yeah.
Right, now we took an advantage. And this is, again, I keep referring to the intelligence and understanding of the Manchester City side, knowing when and where to hurt teams and knowing when they've got the advantage. As I said, Wan-Bissaka's just created that advantage there. Now, suddenly, as you said, you've got that pass into...
We've got 2 players,
into
free.
Fred or into Greenwood. But Ronaldo's calling, he wants it done to the far side. It's not necessary, but it's not necessary in one pass. But that is their advantage. But they chose the wrong option and let Manchester City off, not off the hook because they were so far up the field, but you're allowing Manchester City to compete for the ball.
It's hopeful, isn't it? On the ball, on the ball for United, it's hopeful. There's no real plan.
No. But how quickly you see Manchester City get the ball in these areas. You see, they won the ball back very quickly because they had a game plan that we're going to have. And we showed at the very top, we're going to have a left-footed fella all the way out here, stretching the pitch. We're going to put a right footer all the way on that side of the pitch. At the moment, it's Kyle Walker. Jesus has come into this position. But how quickly that Manchester City go, right, we've won the ball back now. Where's our game plan? Where are we going to hurt them today? Well, I'll tell you what, it's this area and it's this area.
Down the sides.
Yeah, it's down the sides. We're going to allow Manchester United, with all the strength that Manchester United have got in the middle, we're not going to go in there. They're strong in there. We'll play where they're weak. And how quickly they identified that intelligence. Look at the way Cancelo just hangs into this area.
He's waiting. He's got his arm up. If you watch Cancelo,
hangs in this
he has
area.
his arm up, looking for the ball. He wants to play it now. His arm's up now. Stones has seen him, bangs it across early, and now it's a 2v1. And then Wan-Bissaka's got a problem now, hasn't he? He's 3v1. The way that they've overloaded it now, boom, 3v1. And he's thinking, where do I go? He's thinking, who do I go to? Do I stay where I am? Do I go tight? Do I go to the ball? He has absolutely no idea, really, what to do. Little 1-2, should do better, should stay with Foden. Gets back, gets himself into position. United clear. Can they keep the ball? They didn't keep the ball for more than 2 or 3 passes after they'd won it.
It was brilliant.
In the whole first half.
It was brilliant from City, but it left Ollie scratching his head. He's changed to a back 3 or a back 5 to try and keep them out. The opposition did something to affect that, and I didn't think United reacted quick enough or found the answer to that problem. Yeah.
So United thought they were doing the right thing by picking a back 5. City are very good going forward. They're going to have a lot of the ball. That's how we're going to defend. That's how we're going to keep a clean sheet, because it's something they haven't done often enough. How did City attack the back 5?
Brilliantly. Brilliantly, if we're being honest. As I said, we've already half highlighted.
Well, that's the position
that
perfect
moment,
there.
but this is it. This is it. We show Foden, Jesus, and this is where they were clever. You see Gundogan, and it's Bernardo Silva playing either side.
Well, let me just show you the Man United back 5 and ask you. That's a good shape, yeah? Is that a good shape? That looks on paper a good shape.
Yeah.
Who are you marking? Who are you affecting?
I think the referee's the best referee in the league.
But they're not affecting anything. They're not getting tight to anybody. They're not getting close to anybody.
Yeah, you'd even argue that, if you take Manchester United's shape as a whole and you say, right, we've worked on a back 5 and we've worked on a midfield 3, I would argue that they look well drilled. They look like they're in good positions. It was just that Manchester City gave them something to think about and they couldn't find the answers. And Manchester City moved the ball quickly. We've already highlighted the areas at the bottom of the pitch, the areas at the top of the pitch.
I think these two were the key. I personally felt the fullbacks were the key. This is Cancelo now on the left-hand side. They're the ones who had time on the ball.
Yeah.
The way that United was set up, as a 5, as a tight 3, as a 2 through the middle, City's spare men were always the fullbacks.
They were, but this is why, again, I say that the intelligence of Manchester City's side. At the moment, the fullback, Ronaldo's got onto the fullback to stop Kyle Walker operating in, because we've showed that the fullbacks hang out into these areas and wait for the ball. So what's happened now? Well, actually, what's happened now is Kevin De Bruyne has thought, well, there's the space, and that's where we're going to hurt them. So I'll go in there. I won't stand in here. where I'm easy to mark, I'll go and stand in that position. And it was clever. They switched the ball quickly. They rotated the pass.
They're always in between United players, aren't they? They're never easily marked.
You see these two again at the bottom, not getting sucked into going across the field, staying away at the top. And Manchester United just literally couldn't
Did you see?
them.
Just watch Cancelo. I mean, I think it's brilliant. I'm going to take it back very slightly. I'm going to highlight him. Because the ball, before it goes back out to the right-hand side, he's saying, I want the ball. So here he is. There's Cancelo here. Watch him. Just watch as I play this on slowly. Right, he wants the ball. Look at his reaction.
Well, he knows that...
Watch him. Slaps his thigh. Give me the ball. We're 2v1. Just give me the ball.
2v1, exactly how they were set up tactically to do it. And again, exactly the same thing. The best marked referee all season.
but it's these two again, isn't it? Foden and Jesus. If he'd picked Grealish, so this is maybe why I didn't pick Jack Grealish, because I think Jack Grealish wants to come to the ball, he wants to get on the ball, he wants to take people on.
As we've seen when Sterling plays on this side, they have a tendency when they dribble to dribble
inside.
Pep didn't want that. He wanted to constantly make this player in Wan-Bissaka have to come out there, which in turn has a knock-on effect, which in turn makes the pitch seem so big all over the place.
Yeah.
And Manchester City tactically got it right.
So it goes down one side, gets tight. So what do?
Again, though,
they filter it now because the overload's now on the right-hand side, isn't it? You've got Walker now with his arm up. If you highlight Walker, look at the far post. There's Walker. Now he's the one who says, look, he's gone down the left-hand side. United have got across. Now we're going to switch it.
Yeah, well, yeah, and Bernardo Silva as
you
well.
Just
highlighted the referee being, the best marked ref in the
well,
in the Premier League.
They've got no job to do, have they?
Manchester United, but from an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer point of view, he would say we've worked on defending as a back five. Our three centre-halves aren't in bad positions. His wing-backs aren't... Shaw's a little deep in this moment. We've stopped it, but they're not in bad positions. His midfield three, maybe even a diamond in midfield to stop going through. It was just
one
that.
Up top, yeah.
Pep outdone Ole tactically. He saw the back three coming and he played in these positions. Even when the ball pops into the middle, they just wanted to get it out. Again, you'll highlight Cancelo at the bottom of the pitch. So much time, so much space. They try to attack in these areas, come out. There's no... We know we've brought them over. We'll switch it to this side. And this is the simplest one you'll see. I mean, I'll just take this one back. And this is why Manchester United didn't get close to City in this game, because at the moment Bernardo Silva's in that position, so he's actually got United defenders near him. They've got players in the middle that are actually marked.
It's a good point.
But Bernardo Silva will now just drift into that position and just watch this player, Lindelof, watch McTominay as we just run it on. And there's no need for Manchester United to keep all their centre-backs at this point.
They're all pointing. They're both pointing at him.
To say, see, who's marking him?
I actually think there's nothing wrong with Lindelof saying, do you know what? I'm going to track him all the way in there. I seem to remember us doing this when Chelsea played against City. And I think it was Rudiger. I think it was Rudiger who did exactly the same thing. When one of the false nines, if you like, goes into a midfield position, he just went, well, don't worry about what's behind me. Yeah. I'll go, and then the other two narrow off.
Especially if you know. I mean, if you're playing against two centre-forwards and a midfielder drops in, you might be in trouble, but they're not marking.
Well, ordinarily, you say there's a big gap for someone to run through. City aren't necessarily going to run in over the top anyway, but Harry Maguire can quite easily narrow off, can't he? Eric Bailly can narrow off, and that lets Lindelof go in through the middle.
Of course, but look, Bernardo Silva's come deep. Manchester United's defenders again are marking the referee. Manchester City have switched it out to the side.
And what about Wan-Bissaka now?
And then you've got Wan-Bissaka. I mean, I actually need to just... because I want to highlight two things here. Just talk about poor decision-making. So, you're right. Wan-Bissaka is already on the move into this position. For some reason, he thinks that that's more dangerous than marking Phil Foden in this moment. You can do that if Eric Bailly is aware and wants to make sure he's over into that position. Well, you can press.
You can do it if you're told to do it. If Eric Bailly is saying to you, you push in on Cancelo, I've got Foden.
Other than that, you've always told Matt, you're the same.
Stay where you are.
Yeah, stay where you are. It's better to have the ball in front of you than have the ball behind you. You defend what you've got and you try and go to press afterwards. So that's the original part. But I also want to watch, because this ends up with a Kevin De Bruyne effort on goal. So I just want to highlight Harry Maguire here because, as I said, they're set up in a decent bit of shape. Just watch as United get caught out. Watch what he does.
So he tries to play offside.
He steps forward, right? Suddenly, Luke Shaw is now in trouble.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to highlight Harry Maguire again. Luke Shaw's in trouble. Jesus is running in behind. So just watch Harry Maguire.
So Shaw does the run with Jesus.
He has to.
Yeah.
So Harry Maguire points in a moment, because I'm going to let it play full speed, points to Luke Shaw, pick up Jesus.
Yeah.
In doing so, you would expect the understanding is that he's going to take Kevin De Bruyne.
Surely.
Right? Because they're in trouble, Manchester City. Watch. There he is, pointing Maguire. He's got Kevin De Bruyne. No, he's not got Kevin De Bruyne, who ends up having the shot. So he steps up, he allows the space. They're constantly scrambling and end up conceding another chance of goal.
And this is another one where, again, City don't get dragged in. They don't say, oh, I've not got the ball. Do you know what? I'll go looking for it. I haven't had the ball for a little while. I'll go looking for it. Yeah. Come into the bodies. They stay where they are. They're quite happy to stay where they are. We'll play it on. He has a couple of times again, Cancelo wants the ball. Look at this. I mean, how long has this clip been playing for now? Look at the space that Cancelo is in. And he's been in that the whole time. Honestly, I'm looking at that thinking, someone do something, please.
Well, the fact that they
tied to it, 2v1 the whole time.
And he's still got his arms in the air and he's frustrated that the ball's not coming.
He's done it again. He slapped his thighs again.
This was a pass. I mean, John Stones hardly thought about that all afternoon. He played that pass quite often without even thinking. Suddenly, Phil Foden up on the outside and Lindelof has an effort at goal.
More efforts on their own goal than they had at the other end.
He won the tactical battle. Yes, he's got the better team. I don't think anyone would argue with that. But tactically, got it spot on.
Well, tactically, he got it absolutely spot on because we talked about who were the spare men for Man City. And it was the fullbacks, wasn't it? It was Cancelo and Walker. 125 touches, 122 touches. This is all the outfield players in the game. Have a look, all the way down. Man United's. So every outfield player for City, because they didn't make a sub, by the way, in the game, had more touches than every single United player. The most was Lindelof for United on 69 touches. That is pretty frightening, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. Very frightening. Manchester United expected the home team to have more play. Yeah, you probably know Manchester City will have a lot of the ball, but the fact that it's your centre-half that's the only that's had most touches of your team, nowhere near the Manchester City team. It's quite interesting that there was no substitution made by Pep. He thought they're the players to get the job done. I don't need to be forced. There's no thought that you have to make substitutions, despite him having probably £500 million worth of players on the bench.
I think it was only the second time he's ever done that as well, since he's taken over at City. Only the second time in the Premier League. Second goal. Let's have a look at it then. Bernardo Silva, it comes from the wide player again. Of course it does. It comes from Cancelo, doesn't it? His cross. Fullbacks on the ball again. I think in this goal, or it might have been this one or the first goal, every single City player had a touch in the build-up to the goal as well. It's just, I mean, it comes down simply that Wan-Bissaka's got to work harder to get out, in my opinion. That's the first point. The catalogue of errors, isn't it? It's not just Wan-Bissaka.
But because we know it's wing-backs, he's not a full-back. He's known that Cancelo's ahead of him. He's also watched Phil Foden. I saw him do it moments ago. Don't need to take it back. Go into that position. He knows there's nobody behind him. Ball comes out to this side of the field. He has to work harder than this to get out to stop the cross. He is arguably the best one-on-one defender. Yeah. He's going up against Cancelo. Get right in his face, get closer to him, get right there. And if he tries to knock the ball and take you on, you should have the ability to get your arms out, get your body in and defend it. He's far too passive. He even jumps to his side to allow that one to come through. But I just think it's a wonderful ball we're about to see. But one of those defenders has got to go and deal with it.
And how many times have we said it? Maguire and Shaw. Let's play it on.
McTominay's found himself deep in the defensive line. And he's done that because...
Let's play it on slowly, look. How many times have we said, Maguire, deal with it? Shaw, deal with it.
Well,
they've conceded so many goals at that far post with the two of them culpable.
I think Maguire could have dealt with that.
Just go and head it.
I think he could have gone and headed it. I think that if you're a centre-half and the ball's coming in, you're in that position, you
just
go
head it. Luke Shaw, deal with it.
I think Luke Shaw could have stopped Bernardo getting to the ball, but as a left-back, I think you're expecting your centre-half to go and deal with that. If it comes over Harry Maguire's left shoulder, in between him and Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw's got to deal with it. He's in trouble. But the fact it comes off the inside of Harry Maguire's shoulder, that's something that
Bernardo Silva that's played the ball out to Cancelo. And they both just left it to each other. David De Gea maybe could do a bit better, possibly. Comes it in from a short distance.
He doesn't cover himself with glory. I mean, he'd had a wonderful first half.
He did. He kept it down to 2.
as well, yeah, up until that point, but just didn't deal with that very well. Certainly an unorthodox. Ended up 2-0 at half-time and probably a justifiably fair score.
It was a damning day, wasn't it, for Man United? If we look at this graphic, this is, I think, highlights it. Man United's fewest touches in the opposition box since Opta began recording the stats, and this is since the 2008-09 season. Just 4 touches in the opposition box. I think they only had the one shot, didn't they? It was Ronaldo's shot with keeper save. Really? But you're talking about a derby here. You know, bragging rights, etc. Top 4. Title race, supposedly.
At home as well.
At home, crowd up. You've just been beaten by Liverpool at home, haven't you? You want a reaction. 4 touches in the opposition box.
4 touches. Not many opportunities to get forward because they didn't win the ball back off Manchester City. They didn't get close enough. They didn't put a tackle in. One booking. Ronaldo late in the second half. Only person that laid a glove on Manchester City. You know they're a quality side. Sometimes you've got to get the crowd on side. You might not be able to even win the ball, but you've got to try and go and, you know, it's done less in the modern game. You've got to go smash someone. You've got to go get the crowd on your side. You've got to go try and get the team behind you, raise the tempo of the game. Nobody did that.
Let's have a look at this then. United, 389 passes they completed in the match. Man City, well, not 427 in the match. That's just the second half. So they completed more passes in the second half than United did in the whole game.
Well, we've come to expect that.
Every stat is just highlighting it now, isn't it? The dominance.
But this is the key. Look at the amount of passes they've had in Manchester United's half. They're not passes in their own half, for keeping sake. They're passes in Manchester United's half, moving it to this area, getting it across, moving it to this area where they were strong, where they were dominant. Manchester United are a bit more all over the place, which sums up how they're kind of playing at the moment.
It does feel a bit like that, doesn't it, Man United? 1 step forward, 2 steps back, so very up and down. I wonder what the Man United fans are thinking about it. Let's head down to the social hub. And Leroy?
Yeah, I've got so much reaction to this, Matt. BK says, Leroy, watching the derby, remembered one of your lectures about the back 3. He said, at Spurs, Lindelof got out to help Aaron Wan-Bissaka, but Bailly didn't. Are they more comfortable with Varane in the middle of that 3? What do you think, guys?
Wow. I mean, I've been saying it. Without Varane, it's been a big problem for them. I mean, they weren't perfect with Varane, Leroy. Yeah. You know, they were still conceding goals, but you look at the damaging defeats they've had without him. And as soon as he came back into it against Tottenham, and I know he picked up an injury in that game, he just looked so much more assured.
Yeah, and I mean, he might well be the organiser, and you always need an organiser in defence, but what he is, he's completely confident in his own ability, so he knows that I'll do my job, now I can go and tell you to go and do your job. You got out there, Lindelof, you do your job, I'm happy being 1v1, and I just felt that Manchester United were happy to be in their positions and, well, will you help me out a little bit and you stay in here and we'll make sure we're secure. And I think that Varane gives you that confidence.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think when it's Varane's a central one, it's important that when Lindelof's outside him, Lindelof could play fullback quite comfortably. But when you've got Maguire and Bailly, who are both out and out centre halves, they don't want to be pulled out of that area, and that's why United was so tucked in and it played into Man City's hands. Carlos says Ollie seems not to be comfortable at Old Trafford. Every lineup, it's like he's trying out something new. He says, I don't think he knows Man United's best game. Do you think that's the point, boys?
Do you know Man United's best team?
I don't know Manchester United's best team. I don't think Ollie knows Manchester United's best team.
I think Cavani was missed at the weekend. I think he has an intensity about him up top. You know, we talked about United's pressing. I think he was missed. I think Varane was missed. We just talked about Varane as well. But I don't know. I couldn't tell you what United's best team is. Most of the top sides have a way of playing, have a philosophy, and you can 9 out of the 11 pick their best side. I can't do that.
Yeah, well, whether you've changed tactically, it's the style that Manchester United are lacking at the moment. They're not a pressing side. They're not quite a counter-attack side at the minute because they've got 7 behind the ball because of this back 3. They're not a possession team, so they need to figure out what they are and do it quickly.
And just one more question. This is from BK. And Leho really mentions this as well. They say some of the players aren't dependable at the moment. It's frustrating. I'm holding myself back at the moment. So Ollie has to start Lingard. We need him. He's one who can set standards. And even Donny van der Beek, I see them as more dependable for us. Do you think those two might have played a part in the game?
I think it depends on what you are, Leroy. You know, Leon talked there about, are they a pressing team, are they not a pressing team? If you're going to be a pressing team, then Lingard comes into the equation. Because we saw it last season when he was on loan at West Ham and how quickly he got into people's faces and pressed from the front. If you're a pressing team and you're going to play that way, then great, absolutely, pick him. Are you going to pick wide players? If you're going to do that, then Jadon Sancho comes into the equation. Ollie talked about in that game there against City how they didn't move. They didn't move 5-6 yards just to get a little angle to get a pass. That's what Donny van der Beek does. So there's lots of things there that he's saying they don't do, and yet there's players on the bench that he's not playing. Yeah. So certainly I think that there's a few players there that deserve an opportunity, having seen what we've seen from United so far this season. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Look, I just want a couple of clips from the weekend which I found quite amusing. And this is the Man City's second goal. And I was watching this. It's coming towards the end of the second half, and I'm kind of getting ready to go out and get a cup of tea in the kitchen. And as the game's being played on and waiting for the whistle to blow, and Cancelo gets the ball here, I'm just going to slow this down. And as the ball goes across, we know what happens. You know, Bernardo Silva sticks it in the back of the net. But who knows that it's gone in the back of the net? I'm just going to pause it here, because the other one who seems to know for me is Kevin De Bruyne knows. I think Gundogan knows. Jesus, not a clue. Foden's running because he thinks it's a corner. From Man United's point of view, only Bernardo Silva knows. Luke Shaw is just about to find out. And it just made me giggle. But I thought Bernardo's reaction was even better than all of those. And as the ball goes in, I'm just going to slow it down here. You see him getting on the back post. And look, it's so brave because he started it back in his own half. And as he just gets up there, I'm just going to pause it there and play it very slowly. Just look at him. Not a clue. Where is it? What? Oh, it's in the goal. It's in the goal. Oh, my God. Oh, yes, I can celebrate now. It was brilliant. I just thought it was absolutely fantastic and I absolutely loved it. One man who did know how to celebrate and was right on point